Hey everyone, welcome to our journey through the world of the Greek gods. Today we're diving into the lives, powers, and stories of the 12 Olympian gods who ruled from Mount Olympus. These gods weren't just powerful, but complex, emotional, and sometimes downright messy, just like us. So grab a snack, sit back, and let's explore the fascinating world of Zeus, Hera, Poseidon, and the rest of the gang. Zeus. Let's start with Zeus, the big boss of the gods. Imagine being the king of the sky, controlling thunder and lightning. Sounds pretty cool, right? But Zeus's story isn't all power and glory. He had a rough start. His dad, Cronus, swallowed him and his siblings to prevent a prophecy that one of them would overthrow him. Luckily, Zeus escaped, freed his siblings, and led the charge against the Titans. After winning, Zeus became the ruler of the sky, while his brothers Poseidon and Hades took the sea and underworld. Zeus is the god of justice and order, but let's be real, he's also famous for his love life. He had countless affairs, which often got him into trouble with his wife, Hera. Despite his flaws, Zeus was respected as the ultimate authority, and his thunderbolt became a symbol of his unmatched power. Hera. Speaking of Zeus's wife, let's talk about Hera, the queen of the gods. Hera is the goddess of marriage, family, and childbirth, and she took her role seriously. But being married to Zeus? That couldn't have been easy. Zeus's constant infidelities drove Hera to take revenge on his lovers and their children. For example, she made Hercules' life a living nightmare, even sending snakes to kill him as a baby. But Hera wasn't just about revenge. She was also a protector of women and families, and her symbols, the peacock and the cow, reflect her majesty and nurturing side. One of her most famous stories is the Judgment of Paris, where she competed with Athena and Aphrodite for the title of the fairest goddess. When Paris chose Aphrodite, Hera's anger played a big role in the Trojan War. Hera's story shows us the complexities of power, love, and loyalty. Poseidon. Next up is Poseidon, the god of the sea, earthquakes, and horses. If you've ever been to the beach and felt the power of the waves, you've experienced a little bit of Poseidon's domain. He's often shown with his trident, which he uses to stir up storms or shake the earth. Sailors prayed to him for safe voyages, but if you crossed him, watch out. Just ask Odysseus, who spent years trying to get home after angering Poseidon. Poseidon also had a soft spot for horses. He's said to have created them. He even competed with Athena for the patronage of Athens, offering a saltwater spring, or a horse, depending on the version. Athena's olive tree won, but Poseidon's influence was still felt everywhere the sea touched. His stories remind us of the ocean's beauty and its unpredictable power. Demeter. Now let's talk about Demeter, the goddess of agriculture and harvest. If you've ever enjoyed a loaf of bread or a basket of fruit, you have Demeter to thank. She's the reason the earth is fertile and crops grow. But her most famous story is a heartbreaking one. When her daughter Persephone was kidnapped by Hades, Demeter was so grief-stricken that she let the earth wither and die. Eventually a deal was struck. Persephone would spend part of the year with Hades and part with Demeter. This myth explains the seasons. When Persephone is away, it's winter. And when she returns, it's spring. Demeter's story is a beautiful reminder of the bond between mothers and daughters and the cycles of nature. Athena. Athena is one of my favorites. She's the goddess of wisdom, warfare, and strategy. Unlike Ares, who's all about chaos and bloodshed, Athena represents the thoughtful, strategic side of war. She's also a symbol of justice and civilization. Born fully armored from Zeus's forehead, yes, you heard that right, Athena is often shown with an owl, representing wisdom, and a shield with Medusa's head. Athena is the patron of Athens, and she won the city's favor by gifting them the olive tree, a symbol of peace and prosperity. She helped heroes like Odysseus and Perseus, using her wisdom to guide them through impossible challenges. Athena's stories show us that brains can be just as powerful as brawn. Apollo is the god of the sun, music, and prophecy. He's like the Renaissance man of the gods, talented, handsome, and multi-skilled. Apollo is often depicted with a lyre, which he plays beautifully, and he's associated with healing and the arts. But he's not all sunshine and music. Apollo could also bring plague and disease, as seen in the Iliad. One of his most famous stories is the slaying of the Python, a monstrous serpent, and his unrequited love for the nymph Daphne, who turned into a laurel tree to escape him. Apollo's oracle at Delphi was one of the most important religious sites in ancient Greece, where people sought guidance for their futures. Apollo's dual nature reminds us that light and darkness often go hand in hand. Artemis, Apollo's twin sister, is the goddess of the hunt, moon, and wilderness. She's a fierce protector of young women and animals, and she's often shown with a bow and arrow, ready to take down anyone who threatens her domain. Artemis is all about independence and strength, and she roams the forests with her band of nymphs. One of her most famous myths involves Actaeon, a hunter who stumbled upon her while she was bathing. As punishment, she turned him into a stag, and he was torn apart by his own dogs. Harsh, right? But Artemis was also a protector, helping women in childbirth and guiding hunters. Her stories remind us of the power of nature and the importance of respecting boundaries. Ares, the god of war, is the embodiment of chaos and violence on the battlefield. Unlike Athena, who represents strategy, Ares is all about the bloodshed and brutality of war. He's often depicted in armor, wielding a spear or sword, and he's accompanied by his sons, Deimos, terror, and Phobos, fear. Despite his fearsome reputation, Ares isn't always taken seriously. In the Iliad, he's wounded by the mortal hero Diomedes and mocked by the other gods. Ares' love affair with Aphrodite is one of his most famous stories, and their relationship shows that even the gods aren't immune to passion and drama. Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, is the ultimate symbol of romance and desire. Born from sea foam, she's often shown with roses and doves, and her beauty is said to be irresistible. Aphrodite's influence extends to love, fertility, and even the arts. One of her most famous stories is the Judgment of Paris, where she promised Paris the love of Helen, the most beautiful woman in the world. This led to the Trojan War, showing that love can sometimes have devastating consequences. Aphrodite's stories remind us of the power of love and the chaos it can bring. Hephaestus, the god of fire, blacksmiths, and craftsmanship. He's the ultimate artisan, creating incredible weapons like Achilles' shield and Zeus's thunderbolts. But Hephaestus wasn't your typical god. He was born lame and, in some myths, even thrown off Mount Olympus by his mother, Hera. Despite this, Hephaestus built his own forge beneath volcanoes, where he worked tirelessly, surrounded by fire and anvils. His skill was unmatched, and even the gods relied on him. His personal life, though, was rocky. Married to Aphrodite, he faced her infidelity with Ares, but Hephaestus got creative. He trapped the lovers in a golden net and exposed them to the gods' ridicule. Hephaestus' story is one of resilience and creativity. It reminds us that true strength isn't about perfection, it's about making something extraordinary out of what you have. Hermes. Meet Hermes, the ultimate multitasker of the gods. He's the messenger of the gods, the god of commerce, travel, and, yes, thieves. With his winged sandals and caduceus, that snake-wrapped staff, he's always on the go. Hermes is a trickster, but also a guide, helping heroes like Perseus and Odysseus, and even escorting souls to the underworld. As a baby, Hermes pulled off his first trick, stealing Apollo's cattle and inventing the lyre from a tortoise shell to cover his tracks. When Apollo found out, Hermes charmed his way out of trouble by gifting him the lyre. Clever, right? Hermes' quick wit and charm made him the go-to mediator among the gods. His stories remind us that a little cleverness can solve even the trickiest problems. Dionysus. Finally, there's Dionysus, the god of wine, revelry, and theater. He's the life of the party, bringing joy, celebration, and a touch of chaos. Dionysus is often shown with a thyrsus, a pine cone-topped staff, and surrounded by wild followers like satyrs and maenads. But his story isn't all fun and games. Born from Zeus's thigh after his mother's death, Dionysus had a tough start. He even journeyed to the underworld to rescue her. And don't cross him, just ask King Pentheus, who banned his worship and paid the price. Dionysus's followers tore him apart in a frenzy. Despite his wild side, Dionysus symbolizes liberation and transformation. His stories remind us to embrace life's chaos and find joy in the unexpected. And that's a wrap on the 12 Greek gods. From Zeus's thunderbolts to Dionysus's wine, these deities shaped ancient Greek culture and continue to inspire us today. Their stories are full of drama, passion, and lessons about life, love, and power. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more mythological adventures. See you in the next video.